Hello, fellow Team Silvamord. So, today we're going to talk about stress. Stress in small increments is completely healthy. It keeps us alert, it helps us focus, and it allows us to respond quickly to situations. But when stress becomes unnecessarily overburdening, when it takes control of our life, then it can technically act more like a disease than anything helpful. So, the same could be said for anxiety. A little anxiety is normal. You know, you have it when you feel like you don't have control over the situation, or that you have the ability but don't have the resources to take control of the situation, that something's going to change that you don't want, that you can't fix or keep from happening. Some people have what's known as anxiety disorders, which can completely run their life for them, in which case I would suggest seeking therapy or medical assistance, because there are treatments or prescriptions that could help you control these. Again, it's not a full cure, but it's another tool, just like with depression, in helping you get there, I guess you could say. So, when is stress too much stress? Pretty much whenever it becomes destructive in your life, and that kind of varies from person to person. I mean, my stress threshold might be completely different from your stress threshold. Just like with pain thresholds, I might be able to take significantly more or significantly less pain than you could. Basically, when it starts to run your life. Now, there are ways of changing your mental point to help live with stress, because it's never really going to go away completely. That's pretty much mentally impossible unless you get a lobotomy, and trust me, you don't want a lobotomy. Or if you're on a heavy prescription, but again, you're taking away such a large portion of your personality and your emotions that it's not at all worth it. I find that there are methods of changing your frame of mind with some practice that can help you cope with stress or anxiety. Now again, these aren't medically proven. I'm not a professional, not a doctor, a psychiatrist, or a psychologist, and nothing I say should be taken as anything aside from opinions. If you ever do find yourself in any situation that you feel that you should seek medical attention, or that you are becoming overwhelmed, then I would suggest you see a doctor or a licensed professional. But just to help you understand it, that's why I'm here. So, I find that my forms of stress are usually caused by either getting overwhelmed or feeling like I'm not in control. Now, overwhelm can be something quite simple. For example, I personally get overwhelmed when I get a sensory overload, and that's particularly if I'm trying to have a conversation with someone and there's someone next to me who's having a loud conversation. When I cannot filter out the noise around me to focus on the one thing that I'm trying to focus on, I do get overwhelmed. It frazzles my nerves, it makes me very uncomfortable. Same thing happens in large crowds because I can't hear accurately. I guess we're all sensitive to our own things, and some people are sensitive to the outside world more than others. Unfortunately, I am, which is probably part of the reason why I'm a recluse. Now, when it comes to feeling like you're not in control, I mean, stress can come from a lot of different things. It can come from money is a big one. when you don't have the money to pay bills or to afford things that you need. Family issues are always another bad one, or relationship issues. Social issues such as work or school, trying to fit in, getting into arguments with your friends. Responsibilities such as work assignments, school assignments, your job, just your responsibilities that feel like they're taking too much from you. Now, anxiety is a little bit different than stress. I find that I get anxious over things that I worry about. It's the what ifs, I suppose. Whereas stress is more like imagining your car's going to get repossessed because you can't pay the bill. Anxiety would be more stemming from, at least in my personal perspective, would be more stemming from the concept of being like, what if my company downsizes and I get laid off, hence leading me not to be able to pay my bills. So whereas stress is usually focused on you not being able to control something, anxiety is focused on the what if situations that could happen and completely throw everything off. At least in my life, that's how I experience it. You might experience it differently. So there are a few different ways to deal directly with stress. One of them that I like to do, and it usually makes me feel significantly better. And I suppose this could be applied in some method to anxiety as well. It's a little bit morbid, I'll admit it, but it's worst case scenario. Now, I wouldn't suggest this for everyone because some of you might be more inclined to think worse than I do, but let's say, for example, and this isn't true, so you know, that I can't afford my bills, so I'm going to have to stop paying my car payment. Well, what's the worst thing that could happen? They would repossess my car. Alright, that's bad, but I'd still be able to get around using the bus or the public transit or even a bike, and I've been wanting to get into shape, so the bike would be a perfect example of helping me get into shape. Yeah, it would be difficult sometimes with weather up here in the Pacific Northwest, but I could get around that, and my credit would take a ding, but I don't intend on buying another car for a while, so I could always build it back up using credit cards or rent. I'm still going to be healthy. I'm still going to be alive. I'm still going to be able to eat, have a roof over my head. So yes, something bad could happen, but it's nothing that will absolutely hurt me. Granted, it might be uncomfortable, it might be difficult, but I'll still survive, and I'll still be me. So, I'm trying to think of an example for anxiety. So, I actually think that the work one would be perfect. So, let's think that, for example, I'm a YouTuber professionally, which I'm not, but YouTubers base all of their income, or at least a large majority of their income, on their videos and the income that it creates. So let's say that we recently heard that YouTube changed their algorithm, which can be pretty, stressful for anyone who defines their entire job based on how YouTube operates. Well, that creates anxiety because there's a lot of what ifs. What if it changes? What if I don't get paid what I'm supposed to, or what I am being paid? What if something happens and I lose all my subscribers, thus not getting the views, thus not getting any income? I could lose my home, I could, it's what if. Well, when it comes to these kind of things, I like to remind myself that the world is a very large place. And regardless of what you believe in as far as religion or spirituality, there are a lot of moving parts, and just because you can't see all of them doesn't mean they're not moving. Yeah, there is a possibility that would happen, but there's also a possibility that it actually might be better for you. Change is scary, but we wouldn't get anywhere in life if there wasn't for change. And although you really never have any control in the world, you do have control over yourself. The one thing you can guarantee you have is control over your actions and how you react. So, it takes some getting used to, but just when you find that you're getting overwhelmed, anxious, stressed out, I find that self-hypnosis actually works pretty well, or guided meditation. These can be found all over YouTube, and you can actually even make your own self-hypnosis audio files with just a little bit of hardware and a script. I actually read a book once upon a time on it because I was fighting depression, and that was another option for trying to treat myself. Again, it's not an alternative to finding real help, but it does help. You learn to visualize something like, let's say, an on-off switch for a light bulb. You learn to associate that mental image with the stress you're feeling, and mentally, you can turn it off. Granted, it doesn't fix everything, but it's another piece in the puzzle that is helping you fix it, or at least control it. If you do need any directions on how to create your own self-hypnosis, or if you would like me to point you in a direction of an audio file, then feel free to leave in the comments below and I'll see what I can do for you. I mean, I am here to help. If you have any other suggestions on coping mechanisms that might work for you, I'm always interested in hearing them. And, well, just remember that, yeah, things might get rough sometimes, but you still have your health, you still have your loved ones, and you're still alive. You're still going to have food. Those are the most important things. So, thank you for joining me on Quits Gaming, and we'll continue tomorrow with coping mechanisms. So, thank you for joining me. Hi guys, thank you for watching my video. It means a lot to me. If you like what you see, why not like or comment, or if you really want to stay up to date on my videos, you can hit the subscribe button, which should be right under this video. I believe it should be right about there. So, thank you again for joining me, and I really appreciate it.